Hello, my name is Marty Windle and welcome to the SBL Guru podcast. This is a continuation of our series Strategy in Real Life, where we take some of the concepts of the SBL syllabus and we try to apply them in real life organizations. Today we're going to look at some of the ethical issues in event management and how to avoid them. So first of all, what is events management? So these are companies that organize concerts or corporate conferences or even weddings where they take over the running, organization and ticketing of an event, and they do that on behalf of a client. Now, it's important that these companies act ethically, and there have been a number of situations where their behavior could be seen as being unethical. Now, we know from our SBL syllabus that ethical questions tend to focus around the ACCA principles: integrity, objectivity, professional competence, and confidentiality. So I'll try to bring in some of those key points when we're talking about some of the ethical issues. So if we start off with that principle of professional behavior, one of the elements of professional behavior is to act in a way that would not bring discredit on the profession, but also provide proper transparency and act in a way that is seen as fair. Now, one of the issues recently, you may be aware of a band called Oasis. Now, Oasis, a very big band there in the 1980s, and they've just announced a series of concerts. And the way they marketed and sold tickets for these events indicated that they were being less than transparent and they were being less than fair to the customers. The issue here was these companies, these event management companies, were prioritizing profit over really ethical behavior. So when fans went online to buy tickets for the Oasis concert, there was unprecedented demand. Fans waited online to buy tickets, but they were stunned to see that ticket prices suddenly surged dramatically due to the increase in demand. What was initially a £50 ticket suddenly cost £200 or more. So while surge pricing is not illegal, we see it in many companies such as Uber, the issue here was a lack of transparency to the fans. They weren't adequately informed of potential price hikes, and it was seen as being unfair. The company was exploiting the fans, they weren't treating fans fairly, and it was really unprofessional behavior on behalf of the event management company. How do we avoid that issue in the future? Well, it's important for companies to be upfront about their pricing policies. If they're going to use dynamic pricing, they need to clearly explain that to fans on all promotional material when they're buying tickets. And it's important for companies to adopt maybe an ethical strategy in terms of pricing for the clients and for the customers. They should also really engage with the audience and take their concerns on board. Second issue and our second principle from our ACCA principles, which is on the SBL syllabus, is the issue of integrity. There's a desire for companies to act with high integrity. Now, there are a number of behaviors in event management companies which may indicate the company is not acting with high integrity. These include taking kickbacks, favoring vendors without considering the client's best interests. So if we look at a company which is involved in concerts, that company is called Live Nation. They're one of the biggest names in event management and the ticketing industry. They faced accusations of leveraging their dominant position in the market to benefit certain vendors and certain artists at the expense of others. Investigations revealed that where exclusive contracts and opaque vendor agreements raise questions about their commitment to integrity. Now, to avoid this ethical dilemma, it's important for companies to have a clear conflict of interest policy and that there's a proper disclosure of conflicts of interest. It's also important that they have regular audits, checks and balances to detect unethical practices. Vendor selection should also be based on an objective criteria: cost, quality and client needs so that it's clear whether people have broken those guidelines and action can be taken. So all these ideas can help to promote integrity. Let's move on to our third IFAC principle. Now, we're aware that the IFAC principle, IFAC principle, which has been adopted by the ACCA, is one of professional competence. Professional competence is having the skills and expertise needed to carry out the tasks effectively. Now, in event management, competence extends beyond planning logistics, involves prioritizing safety, ensuring we've got the right skills to manage an event, and failing to do so can lead to catastrophic consequences such as harm to the public. If we revisit the famous Fire Festival, you may have seen a Netflix video about this Fire Festival. It was marketed as a luxury music festival on a private island, attracting thousands for an experience that turned into a nightmare. They arrived to find no infrastructure, unsafe accommodation, and lack of basic resources. What went wrong with that Fire Festival? They failed to consult experts and they lacked the necessary expertise to execute such a large event. They neglected basic safety standards such as providing adequate shelter and food, and they overpromised without assessing the feasibility of their plans. So it's important that to act ethically also means acting with professional competence, making sure you've got the skills to do the job effectively. Another area of professional competence that may be considered is that of environmental responsibility. It's important that we have the ability to deliver an event and the skills to deliver an event which will have a minimal impact on the environment. Now, if we look at two contrasting events, Glastonbury event, which I'm sure you may be familiar with, it's one of the biggest UK music festivals. They banned in 2019, they banned single-use plastic bottles, saving an estimated 1.7 million in plastic bottles from being used. So they have the skills, they have the policies in place to deliver effective environmental responsibility. On the flip side, if we look at Woodstock 1999, it's remembered for its environmental chaos, overflowing trash bins, absence of a proper waste management system led to garbage strewn across the venue, tarnishing the festival's legacy. So it's important that we have people on board, we have the competence, not just to deliver the event technically, but also the competence in terms of environmental management. Make sure we have people on board who've got skills in understanding recycling, understanding the carbon emissions, and how those can be minimized in any event. So what we can see is those ACCA ethical principles, they can be applied in non-financial, non-accounting organizations, and they can provide solutions to help ensure that companies achieve strong ethical behavior. So hopefully this will provide you with some insights about how the ACCA IFAC principles can be applied in real-life companies, especially in relation to events management. Thank you for listening. If you want to find out more about my courses, I've got paid courses, I've got free resources, I've got tuition courses, revision courses, and a double mock course, which gives you 2 mocks based on the Preseen case study, which I offer right at the end of the course, just before the exam. Get in touch. You can go to www.sblguru.com. SBLGURU.com. It's got all my links. It's got my WhatsApp number. If you want to get in touch, just hit me up on WhatsApp. Thanks very much and good luck in your examination.